to what I call the Daily Beetle. I wanted to just give you guys a little bit of information about my background, just so you can get an understanding of what this channel's really all about. I'm a physical therapist. I've tinkered with cars. When I was younger, I was kind of forced into it, like a lot of us. Had a 1972 Chevy LUV pickup that always had to tinker with, you know, doing head gaskets on it, doing all kinds of brake work and whatever. And I've always managed to do a lot of the work on my cars, mainly by using manuals, which is, you know, I'm 47, so, you know, Chilton manuals were kind of the Bible for fixing all of our stuff. That, and then just had a lot of friends that were gearheads that knew how to do a lot of things, or at least were knew how to do some of the stuff I couldn't. So I don't have a huge technical background in cars, but you know, the Beetle's pretty basic, and knowing that it's pretty basic, at least that's what everybody says about it, I went ahead and picked one up. And my 1965 you've seen a little bit of in the previews of the channel. I don't really want to do a lot to the body. I want to try to get this thing just, I guess, fixed up a little bit. I want to put disc brakes on it, which I said in episode 1, and that's been side railed a little bit by the fact that the transmission gave out for the second time, and that's what you'll see in this one, is kind of the parts that fell apart inside of the tranny at the end of this video. Feel free to fast forward through anything that's just getting a little lengthy. I've got my kids helping me out, so I've got 2 girls, 14-year-old, 9-year-old, and they are helping with a bit of the video piece, and I'm trying to get their, what do we call it, get their hands wet a little bit. But I'm not going to let them do anything too insane. I just want them to be around the car, get experience with pulling stuff apart, and just to kind of see their reactions and educate them a little bit on how this stuff all works, because I don't think they have a clue. It was fun. So when we went and picked the Beetle up, we went out to South Dakota, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and everybody said, "Oh, you're crazy. What are you doing? You're not going to be able to drive that thing back." And I said, "Well, yeah, I am crazy, and I don't really care if I break down. It's all part of what happens with these cars." And yeah, so I chose a car that was reasonably priced. I think I paid $7,900 for it, and we flew out there, so there's a little expense on that, and then was making a trip out of it. So my 9-year-old came with me. We picked the car up, and there had been tornadoes that came through Sioux Falls 1 or 2 days before, so there was flooding all over the place, and ended up we had to do some silly river crossings and all this kind of stuff. But went to the dealership, drove the car around a little bit. They were consigning it, took it around about a 2-mile drive, felt good. Went ahead and bought it, and then drove it over to a Walmart, which is like the main store they had. So we filled up on all the camping gear because we couldn't bring anything with us flying, and got tent, sleeping bags. Car came with a cooler, so we got a bunch of ice and a bunch of staples, and fueled up the Bug and went for it. We made it about a block and a half, put the clutch in, and then it lurched forward and died an aggressive death. And my 9-year-old is, you know, crying in the front seat, not quite understanding what's happened. She hadn't had a car break down on her before, so for me that was kind of the point. And looking back at the trip, you know, we ended up not being able to drive the Beetle back. We put it, I called the guy up that had sold it to us, and he went ahead and pulled the engine and replaced or repaired the clutch arm mechanism, which is the same thing that you'll see had broken again. And then they shipped it out to me. So you saw the first drive in it, and it drove for about, well, probably about 2 weeks. I was feeling pretty good about it, getting the quirks worked out, and then it died about a week ago now. And parts, just ordered up all the parts, got some stronger parts. Hopefully this fixes the problem. We're back on the road, and I can start tinkering with adding seat belts and adding the disc brakes and increasing some of the safety features on it, keeping it as original as we can. But you know, I do want to not die in this vehicle, and to keep my kids safe, because I want to use it as a commuter. Yeah, what else can I say about this right now? That's it. So yeah, you're gonna get a perspective of somebody working on a car that isn't super great mechanically, but brave enough to turn a wrench, and I can follow directions. So everything that I'm doing actually this time just through YouTube, and watching videos of other people that have already gone this route, and you can see kind of what it really takes, or what it takes an average person to, or what kind of time it takes, and what kind of lack of experience I might have. I guess it just gives you a slightly different perspective. There's plenty of people out there that are doing this professionally, and there's lots of videos on how to drop your engine, but I've never dropped an engine before, so we just dropped the engine over the weekend, and you'll get to see kind of the struggles and some of the mistakes. And I jokingly tell everybody that I think like an Aquarius, so I take the longest route possible to complete a task, which gets to be a little frustrating sometimes, but I guess that's how I learn. Anyhow, yeah, well, I hope you guys enjoy the channel. If you like it, subscribe to it, and we'll just see how it goes here. All right. Oh, I'm gonna plug my company, Human Function Physical Therapy. So yeah, physical therapist by trade. I like solving problems anyhow. That's a big part of the work, is just diagnosing human problems, even things like alignment, the nervous system. So that's just like an interesting thing, right? I went into PT, but I do really enjoy working on vehicles and finding the problems and coming up with solutions. And the human body to me is just like a souped up Mustang, right? We've got all these different parts that we have to assess and make better without replacing parts, hopefully. All right, guys. Cheers. I realized I got done with the video and I forgot to include this little piece of humor that I wanted you guys to, well, maybe it's not humor, but was going to say that if you're going to buy one of these cars, be prepared, you know, to not drive it sometimes. So it's my only car. I don't have another vehicle that I can drive. My wife has my Mini Cooper now. We're trading that in. So it's either bus it to work, bike it to and from work, or come up with other solutions. And right now I'm doing a combo of bicycling and skateboarding. So this was it. I'm like, this is one of the most important tools you can buy, because you're going to be broken down a lot. So on my down days, when I'm waiting for parts and I have to commute creatively for a week, I'm doing that. So we're going to skateboard, or we're going to bike it in. And skateboard's kind of nice, because if I do get a ride from my wife or somebody in another little car, I can just throw that in real easily. But you know, I'll go back and forth between the cycle and this, but it's getting cold, man. It is now. I was skateboarding this morning with hat and gloves, and, you know, zipped up to the top with a scarf on, and it's 32 degrees outside, so I want this car to work a lot. All right, bye guys.